right. Yeah. Weird. Oh, I could feel it. There's different times when there's windows that open up where I can feel the hatred of these people for their clientele. The sheer hatred. They are at war with their clientele. I'm smart enough to pick up their war as a culture, as a corporate culture. The local transit is at war with their clientele. They don't respect their clientele, and I've seen it a number of times. Fat food. That's actually what I had yesterday. Lagoos, water. And an office. Necessity. Of course. DWAS. I am aware of it. I could not be not aware of it. I was molested by a driver one day. 2 weeks later, the same thing happened at the same place. And after 2 months and several phone calls and several employees, not one person ever apologized to me. Rather, I was approached by the police. Right? I don't know a lot of people. I was asked to stop shopping at several local food stores. Not in so many words. Just about every health store in about 20 miles. I was invited, or at least I was shown that I would be unsafe shopping there. And if I told you the stories and the minutiae, it might not seem. One of the most interesting is body language. One thing, the orientation of my physical body to one of their female staff members affected my ability to continue shopping there. I'm not kidding. The physical orientation of my body, which was not even turned toward them, but that I was in fact turned away, maybe looking off at the oranges in the distance, whatever, elicited the violence of one of their lesbianic employees, which had a typical the fatty deposits in their body indicate a lot of psychopathy. And the way the fat is distributed in a woman's body can also give you an idea of how psychopathic they are. And I already knew this woman was crazy. I've been shopping there for years. And she knew me and I knew her. I never really knew her name. I didn't care. I didn't like her. Never felt comfortable with her at all. It's not a question of dislike. It's a question of feeling unsafe. There's certain people you just know they're not right. There's no point in pretending like they are. And another place I was shopping for coffee, standing in a particular location in the store and doing this with this coffee cup. Right? I got my coffee, I went like this, and went, like that. That also caused me to not be able to go shopping at that store anymore, that coffee shop. I don't go there anymore. It's not safe for me to. That just doing that as a white male was enough. Because the location of the owner's, the hole in her ass, the hole in her anus, between the buttocks where the shit comes out of, because of the location of her ass, with respect to where I was standing, if you believe that. And that woman, the next time I came in, started flirting with me. And her partner started wearing more revealing clothing. Not just for me, but I think it's just who they are. And I started going there. Now they have two different women working there, but they're all creepy. You come in there, and I bought a tiny little sandwich with a fucking pickle for almost $20, with a handful of potato chips in there. Like just a white bread sandwich with like not very much on it, with a handful of potato chips for $20. They call that a gourmet sandwich. Now, to be fair, I've been around these types of women my entire life. West Coast women, especially on Vancouver Island, the islands, right? They're all psychopaths, right? They're like nice psychopaths. You know, they're kind of feminist, they're kind of this, you know, and it's the same thing with any psychopath. Like, what do they really want? What kind of dependencies are they encouraging in their environment? By irritating people, by subjecting them to their disproportionate idea of morals and reasoning. Who knows what a sandwich is worth. I got on their good side the first time I came in there. You know why? They opened their coffee shop and I got an Americano or something, and I said, you know, you're charging 50 cents less than most of the people in the area. And they said, oh, really? Thank you. I came in there and now they're charging 50 cents more. It's hilarious. Right? But I got on their good side, you see? That really starts the relationship right there. Right? Ooh, he's one of those nice men who help women to make money. He understands, you know, the bottom line. It's like, I was just doing them solid. I'm just like, just for whatever it's worth. They could have kept the same price. Like, it's okay coffee, you know? But I noticed all the worst places always charge too much for coffee. Right? Let's go down. Let's go down. We'll go. Oh, you know what? I think I actually have an extra joint over here already somewhere. Do one. So, yeah, the transit is at war with their clients as a culture and as a people, and it reflects the region.
It's a tricky territory. I don't use the buses anymore. They've, they know how I feel. It's really funny because they don't really allow their clients to say very much. They don't really have much of a complaints. Like it's more like the suggestion box where it's like you're supposed to get the idea that they give a fuck because they have a place for you to write 200 words to talk about whatever the fuck the driver did to you that day. And I decided to write an essay one day, and I thought I don't give a fuck about 200 words. I need to get my thoughts out. So I wrote this essay about what had happened and brought a lot of my expertise to it, and in rhetoric and technical writing, and that kind of thing, or maybe just being an angry son of a bitch. And I went to their website. I noticed that they had opened up a forum to talk about some new fucking bus route. It's all just propaganda. We want your opinion about the new bus route, right? Let the pub soften the people up, make them think that they give a fuck what the public actually want. Anyway, I thought, I wonder how much space they put in here, because they're not expecting. They don't get so many. Like they probably get a lot of complaints, which is why the complaint thing has been structured as much as it is, right? And they told me, they said they've never had a complaint of a bus driver yelling at someone before. And sure and behold, the whole fucking 3,000 word essay fit in there, and I sent it off. And the next day I went to the website, and they'd closed the site down. Imagine how many people took the opportunity to express themselves, right? And they just couldn't take it, right? Because people don't feel like you can. It comes through the attitude of the bus drivers. Ever since I started using the buses, they're sadistic, they're blah. There's no leadership. There's no follow through they don't seem to enjoy what they're doing at all. You can see that. They're understimulated. It's not really a high traffic. It's one of the easiest places in the world to drive a bus, and they still can't do it right. Right? They're bored. They're incompetent. The whole range of problems. So I told you I got the goose, right? The goose. Sorry. And this is the goose, the otter, and we got the ant again. We got the otter. Today's going to be a good day. The sun's going to pop out a little bit. I think we've got some clouds up there, but we'll have. And I left this out. Put that away. Yeah, so that's cool. I got my food made. I got my marijuana ready. So I could just put on my clothes and just about be out the door if I wanted to. That's good. Feels good. And that's proactive, right? That's called proactive. Like, this is not my penis. This is not my penis. Imagine what though? Go to a bathroom somewhere and it's like you pull out like some like hose and it's like some guys at the pub like beside you in the urinal going, dude, I don't normally comment what men do in the urinal beside me, but what the fuck is that? Oh, it's my catheter. Don't worry about it. You want some? No, I don't want some. I wonder if a man has ever turned in a urinal and turned and then urinated on the guy beside him, and what happens when you do that? I imagine you could start a few fights that way. Find the biggest fucking dude, like the bouncer standing there taking a piss, and you're like, hey, Jerry. Shit, I'm so sorry. Do you think you could avoid a good pounding at that point? And yet, I don't know, like, how the law would come down on an assault, because technically you've assaulted him. You could claim that it was an accident, but the judge would be like, you accidentally urinated upon the biggest man in the entire pub. It's like, what can I say? I wanted to talk about the weather at the game, and I forgot about the urine coming out of my penis. I instantly apologized. I bought him a drink. told him I bought him some new pants. Yes, I did laugh a little bit. It was hard not to. Urinating on someone, that has got to be. Imagine urinating on a corpse. I was watching a TV show and a guy urinates on a corpse, and then they ask him, the crime scene investigator said, "Why did you urinate on it?" And it's like, why not? It's not like they're going to notice. I think humans tend to have some very strong opinions about how you treat a human body after the cessation of their life, which is just, in a sense, like humans die and come back to life all the time. I think the system is like there's what your doctors know, and then there's what the system knows, because the system really has all the true knowledge, and everyone else gets a little fucking fraction of it, which is kind of like most knowledge to the highest level of the universities around you and the books being written at whatever level is kind of to the knowledge that the system has, the way morphine is to straight heroin. It's a corruption. It's a watered down version. I mean, do you think people who had true knowledge would ever be Christian? You know, aside from maybe the social advantage of going somewhere and drinking representative human blood and worshiping the idea of a man being tortured on a cross. You know, man comes back to life all the time. This resurrection capacity is exploited by the system. And so humans can take anything and come back again. We killed 500 million people's mothers and fathers and children, and we're like, yay, it's the internet now. Let's make YouTube videos. Woo! Let's think about if we can light our own farts. And it's like we forget. And yet we never forget. They say the past is gone. The past never goes away. It's right here. 500 million dead bodies are right here. 500 million, a billion dead people. The native people who have been crucified and had wire fences wrapped around their children, around their sacred trees, and laughed at them while they bled and screamed to death. That's what white people did. White people just like me. That's what this skin color did. That's what the people of lower pigment did. That's what the people did. That's what we did. That's what we did. At least I could fucking admit it. Yes, we fucking raped and killed native children by the millions. And their voices live right here. They are the grass. They are the clouds, the bushes. Do you think that any of their pain has gone away? Do you think you're absolved of that sin, oh white man? You think you got your children and everything? There's children down the hall, right? A red man once sat against that wall, and this white fucking cunt came out of our apartment, and she's like, "Ooh, he startled me." He's a very good-looking man. She probably just decided to be startled instead of what she really was, horny. This woman had ran a fucking brothel most of her life and hired young male prostitutes on a regular basis. But all of a sudden she's startled because of a beautiful, strong native man. Now, he shouldn't have been sitting there, and it was disrespectful to the building and to me, but that's between me and him. We're not really friends anymore, but for that and other reasons, he was disrespecting me and my place. And yeah, white people are so disrespectful. They are still here. They're still here. White people should go talk to them and go and apologize. Better yet, save your useless apologies and just pay attention to what the earth is saying to you. Now ask yourself, when you walk outside today anywhere, do you think the earth rejoices in the death of the red man? Do you think the earth sometimes heaves a groan of relief when angry, sadistic, violent white people finally rest their difficult, suffering-ridden lives? Probably. Right? Because we killed all them, and now we just slowly die and suck on the poison of each other's fucking tailpipe every day. You know, some fucking white dude on YouTube in one of these vaccination videos, whatever, saying that there's no such thing as industrial poisoning, and it doesn't hurt you, right? They'll say anything to sell their fucking vaccines. Anything. It's like talking to a fucking Christian, man. They'll fucking do anything, anything. In all the years, I'm an intelligent man writing essays and articles and stuff on vaccine-related YouTube videos. Never once had a rational discussion with anyone. Not one citation yet of a single study, and yet, or a control, 20, 30, 40-year control, any vaccine in 200 years, and yet the most common thing you'll hear with people who are pro-vaccines is moron, stupid, moron, stupid, moron, stupid, moron, stupid, moron, stupid, stupid, moron, stupid, moron, stupid, moron. They just call you moron. They're so convinced in their religion. And then what they're really doing is not winning their argument, they're demoralizing people who have actually come up a little bit from the level of complete cretin that most people are born into. They've actually raised their head above the cretinous, and then these other cretins are going, no, get your head back down. It's like whack-a-mole. Don't think, whack-a-mole, whack-a-mole. And all these people who think they're so heroic, who play video games where they get to be the hero, where they watch World War II reenactments where white people get to be the hero, and white people are the hero of all these fucking stories, and we're so fucking amazing. And look at how they behave when one or two of them don't want to be fucking injected with hundreds of fucking poisons. Look how they fucking act to each other. You think these fucking people have control over any of their faculties? I'm surprised they can even wipe their fucking asses. I don't expect anything from white people. Don't expect anything from white people. Look at how they fucking live. Look at how they fucking talk. Look at how they fucking move. Look at what their children fucking look like. Look at what their bodies look like. Look at how they talk. Look at everything about their aura. Look at their fucking body language. Look at their fucking misery fucking ridden faces. Look at the fucking illness and alcoholism, drug addiction and incest and fucked up delusions that course through their inebriate and insatiable sadistic fucking body. White people have their own kind of genocide. It's done by themselves. White people are genocided by themselves. It's just a more efficient genocide. That's all. If you read Machiavelli, they colonize places and they commit the most heinous crimes to the most indigenous inhabitants. And then they move in foreigners and they get them and their culture to basically regulate the environment because they're scared. They'll do anything and believe anything because they're scared of being treated like the native inhabitants, whom they've basically slaughtered. Right? And so the colonialists basically face another kind of slaughter. It's just a more sophisticated slaughter. Right? It's like the guy in the movie that's hired to kill someone and then they kill the assassin because he's a loose end. White people are a loose end in subverting the earth. We're constantly being killed and constantly coming back to life. We're a plant living in a plantation. Kill, and the sun that we have is the sun of death. It kills us so we come back to life. Death, life, death, life. Human beings, white people, are always living in death. We've always got a foot in the fucking grave. I don't think a white person has really been on this side of life for 2 steps together in 500 years. I think most people live in and out of a shadow realm. They don't use their minds, not because they're of their DNA or because people don't use all of their intelligence, but because they're fucking abused. They're being genocided. They're killing themselves. Life is suicide for the white man. And you can see it in what they can and cannot talk about, what they can and cannot listen to, how they can and cannot think, what they can and cannot see, what they do and do not hear, what they never have to hear. And you put together what goes on in the world, and you listen to white people, and you think, you erase the ears, you erase the eyes, you take out the mind, you take away any voice except you just produce the prattle, and you go, that's what a white person should look like. So with no ears, no eyes, and no mind, and no dick, and no vagina. That's what a white person really should be. They should be a fucking brainless Ken doll. They should be a fucking Barbie doll. Because that's what they are. They have no minds, they have no ears, they have no genitals. And they get every fucking vaccine in the book. It's just a more sophisticated genocide. Right? They're constantly dying of unnecessary illness and suffering. And what are those people going to do to their own children? What are they going to do to any other races? Right? Right? They did the residential school system for brown people.
people the color of the earth, people the color and the quality and the power of the full intelligence of the sun and sky and all the colors of nature than native men. The most colorful, wonderful creature that ever roamed these lands, ever, and will continue to do so long after the white people killed themselves off. And what did we do to them? What did we do to ourselves? We put them into the residential schools. That means ripping children away from their families, many of whom would never see them again. And when they did, it would be after an intervening period of almost constant terror, rape, mutilation, and near but never quite escape. From white Christians who got paid to do that, right? And then you have the regular school system, which is also just a more sophisticated residential school system. And white people's children, they don't get touched. They don't get made to be so afraid that they have to run home, although I did in grade 1. I ran home and they sent me back again. They never interpreted it like I didn't want to be at school. It's a residential school system. What I would give to talk to one of my teachers, what I would give to talk to a high school, elementary school teacher and tell them what I really thought. What I would give to talk to the teachers of the world. And I would say, you're so fucking stupid. And they're so proud of their intelligence. They're so proud of themselves. They're so proud of what they do. And they have nothing else. And just, to take away their teacherliness would be to take away everything they have left in life. Because they have nothing else. They have nothing else. Their job is who they are. Right? And they don't get to hit the children. But the children are placed in an environment where they are slowly terrorized and changed and brain damaged. There's no logical reason to keep them there doing what they do there every day. The culture of any school is barbaric. But I can hear just the sound of teachers' voices. I can tell someone who's been a teacher. I can tell by the way they talk, the way they move, the look in their eyes, little twinkle, because they've been in contact with children their whole life and they've gotten off on it, right? Anyone can think that children are cute, You think you could get me to come into a room and tell a bunch of 7-year-olds to sit in their desk and not move around and here's some fucking piece of paper so you can learn how to print the letter R and make a sentence with the letter R in it or something? Fuck you. I'd be like, go home, you little fucks. I don't want anything to do with you. And they'd be like, thank you, sir. Right? You're strangers to me. I'm a stranger to you. What a strange relationship it is coming into a classroom for the first time and meeting and the teacher standing there and the children being there. What a strange thing. Maybe you know your teacher's last name. Do you know anything about them? Have your parents ever met them? They just sound like, how's your teacher? I don't know. I don't know who they are. Miss Rain had nice tits. I remember that. Didn't know her first name. Wasn't with her when she was going to teacher college. Learning how to be somebody. Learning how to raise herself above the flotsam. Keep her nose clean. Get to be a teacher. Go to school. And tell the children what to do. You might think, well, maybe I wouldn't know how to read if it wasn't for Miss Rain. Being able to stand there and keep those 30 children still in their seats. Looking out of the window, looking at the clock, looking out of the window, looking at the clock. And the light was always so bright in those classrooms, isn't it? Isn't it just so glaringly bright? It's like snow bright inside a classroom, isn't it? It's like you go snowblind inside these places. And it probably just changes your state of mind completely. It's like keeps you very alert. You ever have anyone turn off the lights in your classroom? Or turn down the lights? The only time you usually turn down the lights is the first time you get to watch a movie or something, or some sort of fucking stupid documentary, and they turn down the lights for that. remember I was in grade 11, 10 or 11 or something, geography, and I gave a speech or something, and I used the word volcanicity, and everyone sort of looked weird, like volcanicity, like they'd never heard the word volcanicity. It's like I'm doing a talk on fucking volcanoes, volcanicity, motherfucker, and I'm like, why is this such a strange word? You know, they're not that smart, white people. But they can be told what to do. School, the smart people in school, I was considered smartish, right? They're really good at being told what to do. That's all. Everyone you went to school with that was smart is good at being told what to do. That's what I found. If you can be good at being told what to do, you can do almost anything in the world that you want to. But they don't tell you that. They say you can do what you want. No, the one thing I couldn't do, and they thought that I was going to be a doctor or a scientist, something, is because I couldn't be told what to do. I've since learned by talking to people in the military that, the military knows that, 1 in 20,000 or 1 in 50,000 people cannot be hypnotized. Very small number of people can't be hypnotized, and you can never train them, and they'd never increase in rank in the army, and because their subconscious and their neocortex are have too much surviving fidelity. The world is supposed to break that down, but not if some people get through. And their minds are still kind of alert in that way, where they can see around the conditioning, right? The mind does, if not the conscious. And I couldn't be told what to do. I couldn't be told what to do. At the end of the day, I could go to school, I could be told, how to do school, academics, but I wasn't socializing, I wasn't capitulating at all, really. But I was doing the one thing I wanted to do that I could get away with, since I felt too scared to go home. Like I said, in grade 1, I ran home, and they sent me back. And that was it. Never run home again, and I was terrified. I remember how the teacher just smiled at me when I came back, and I was just like, what does that mean? Like, oh, how cute. He experienced a latent tendency to want to go home during the day. And but that actually was probably the most ominous thing that ever happened to me, because I was 6 years old, and I had expressed a latent capacity to be afraid of being at school. I had lost interest, and I had lost the capacity to remain there, and I walked home by myself. And they sent me back. And that was that. And they thought they had me, but they didn't. You see, that 6-year-old part of me, the part of me still with these teeth, never capitulated. Never capitulated. No, I never went to your school. I was never all there. You never had me. My spirit lived when the bell rang, and I walked outside in fresh air, and I did your stupid fucking work. These teachers are so fucking stupid. You could ace. I aced all my classes. You could ace these classes. They're morons. They're orangutans. They're bonobo apes. They're fucking morons. A teacher is synonymous with a moron. It means the same thing. They're a taker. They're a moron. They're all morons. The professors of all the universities are morons. They're complete morons. Every fucking teacher in the world is a moron. Never ever be a teacher. They're morons. They're morons. They're all morons. You don't want to be around these people. They're order takers, right? Order takers are undertakers. They're just going to fucking bury you, man. And they don't even know what they're doing. They're too stupid to know. So you have to be smarter than them. You have to be smarter than your teachers. They're not smart enough, because if they were, they wouldn't be teaching you, would they? And everyone fucking knows that. If a teacher is so smart, what are they doing in a fucking school? Schools aren't for smart people. They're for stupid people. So I did the bare minimum, which is I got straight A's. Because I had somewhere to put my energy. I had nothing to do all day. Wasn't making friends, wasn't learning how to have sex, wasn't talking with girls, wasn't drinking, wasn't making friends, going to parties, socializing at all. I had zero interest in socializing, but nobody noticed. Nobody noticed. Nobody noticed. I didn't care. Children would bug me. I didn't care. I'd go do my work and go home. You know, the other students, they had more of an investment of certain things, right? They were exploring other options. I wasn't, you know. By the time I was 6, I knew the system was a very fearsome thing. I knew my teachers were psychopaths. I know that any teacher that would force a child who ran home, the one of few, how many children run home from school? I did. And then and take them back and not even ask me how I felt or whether or not I really wanted to be there. Those are your teachers. That's what they are. That's what Miss Rain is. That's what Miss Lamar is. That's what Miss Frères is. That's what Miss Sharp is. Mrs. Vanderfire, Mrs. Welsh, Mr. Dix, Miss Oliver, Mr. Haste, Mr. Shippets, Mr. Sigfusson, Mr. Wood, Mr. Vandermeulen, Miss McLaren. Yeah, I know all your names. Mr. Hoogie, Mr. Brandt, Mr. Ratzlaff, Miss Vandermeulen, Mr. Lewis. There's one guy's name I forget. I don't remember his name. And an art teacher, I forget her name too. But what do you think they are? She never asked me if I wanted to be there. I expressed a physiological distress, and I expressed a complete interest in taking my physical body back to my home that was only 2 blocks away. I spent my life in a prison 2 blocks away from my home, and I got to come home every day on furlough. Do you understand? Furlough. Right? Get yourself, and you have to do fucking homework, prison work while you're there. I would shove it up their fucking asses if I was back there now. When I get born again, and I'm going to wait until I get to grade 7, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to urinate on the fucking teacher. I'm going to plant my fucking fist into his fucking dead skull. I'm going to rip out his fucking heart. I'm going to eat it in front of all the fucking students. I'm going to eat your fucking heart out. I'm going to have that blood and that fucking aorta. Of course, I'm going to fuck you, you fucking piece of shit, you fucking animal. You want to treat me like a fucking animal, you fucking teachers? You want to treat our fucking children like fucking animals? Hey? You fucking morons. You're not even worth my anger. Teachers are disgusting. They're fucking miserable, fucking disgusting human beings. They don't fucking care if you want to be there or not. They're psychopaths. Right? It's normalized. It's a sophisticated residential school system, and they need sophisticated people who get to be people. They get on their fucking shirt in the morning. They get in their fucking Exxon Supra. They drive it to work. They get into their fucking, they go into the staff room and they fucking, hey, Debbie, whoa, all right, how's that class going on? Hello, everyone. I'm somebody. Listen to me because I'm going to fucking keep you prisoner for the next 9 fucking months. Fuck you. And then if one of you children out there get any fucking ideas that you like to express a considerably substantial disinterest in wanting to be there, you get labeled, you get harassed, you get persecuted, you get medicated, you get tied down, don't you? Because it's like a fucking psychiatric ward then, isn't it? Right? And the insane people are running the institution. That's how these institutions work. They trap you. I'm not saying you have to feel this way. I'm saying this is why you're trapped. You're trapped from talking. You're trapped from feeling. You are forced to come out of your home into a secondary location where someone keeps you against your will. And it's legal. Well, I tell you, the day it becomes fucking legal to kill teachers, I'll be the fucking first in line. And I'll get all your fucking addresses, and I'll come to your house when you're sleeping, and I'll stick that fucking gun down your throat, and I'll ask you, do you want to be here? Do you want me to be here? Or do you want to live? Do you want to exercise a will of your own? Then let your fucking children exercise a will of their own, motherfucker. Because the next time I come here, I'm not going to be so nice. And those teachers will never come back to work again. Right? They'll have a fucking mental breakdown, or they'll fucking become enlightened. They'll become liberated. Look at these fucking creatures as they get older and how sick and ugly and fat they become. Because they've been feeding on children their whole life. They're like gluttons. They've never fucking grown up. People can grow up without growing up. What do you know? Right? And to find teachers that guilty is to find them guilty in a way that is very hard to understand. Because it's structural.
Again, it's a sophisticated residential school. What are they really doing? Just going to work and being nice to their students and trying to help them get on in life, working hard, giving them things, allowing them to learn things. They're not hitting them, they're not beating them. A lot of the children even seem to enjoy it. What's the big deal? Well, notwithstanding the fact that I've already said what the big deal is, notwithstanding the fact that you can get children to enjoy almost anything, have you ever read any abnormal psychology? Have you studied anything about alcoholism? Have you ever learned anything about your home and to glaze your fucking mind over so that you don't notice the things that everybody just fucking learns to do, no matter how good or bad it is? Look at the world. We've all learned to live in a world that has all kinds of awful things. You've learned not to complain. You've learned to be happy with all kinds of shit. How dare you be happy? We fucking starved 500,000 children to death in Iraq in the 1990s. How dare you fucking be happy? How dare you ever be fucking happy another day in your life? Because you have to be. You have to be, even though you have no reason to be. The world. The world. What control do you have of the world? What control do I have? We may not have control about it, but we're responsible for it. Right? The people who rule the world, they exert their kingship. Okay? They exert a kingship, a kind of kingship. They try to hack into the language of kingship, the language of the spring, the language of birth, the language of resurrection, the language of powerful ways that nature talks. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. And they try to be the king, right? The spring to spring, the king to king. They try. They want to be the king. They want to say they are the king. They want to keep your mind thinking this world is ruled by people stronger and bigger and better than me. But they're not the only king. You see, they have competition. You, me, they have competition for being the king. You could be the king. I could be the king. And I could walk like the king and talk like the king. And I could inherit the flesh and blood of a son that through its every path and labor, like that of all the animals in the world, has already solved all the evil in the world. Listen to that. That's a siren. That's a banshee. Right? That's a banshee from another dimension. Emergency vehicles are banshees from another dimension. Right? They're banshees from another dimension. They're terrorizing everyone in the environment who feels bad because they know that somebody's having a worse day than they are. Right? It's torture. Right? Sirens are torture. They're meant to torture you. Now, the people driving the emergency vehicles don't know that. Maybe the people making them don't know that. And the people in the towns don't know that. And you don't know that. But you're being tortured. You say, oh, you're being very difficult. It's like, sirens are torture. I spend a lot of days in the ether, in the wild woods, and I feel things. Now, because I feel tortured by them, doesn't mean that everyone involved is trying to torture me. Just like if you're tortured by all of your teachers, doesn't mean that any of your teachers are really trying to torture you. If you say, hey, you're trying to torture me, they might start medicating you. But they are torturing you. You see, people can do things in society that apparently they're not doing. They can do things they're not doing. And they cannot do things that they are doing. Right? The police officer grabs your arm and you say, hey, you're assaulting me. Get your arm off me. It's like, sir, calm down. Right? Stop moving. It's like, he doesn't say sorry. He doesn't say, oh, maybe you're right. Let me think about that. Right? His assault doesn't exist any more than you do. He's learned to eliminate you from his concern. Out of concern for you and others. He says, sir, this is just for your own safety. Right? He's a psychopath. He's a police officer, which is the same thing. A teacher is a psychopath. A bus driver is a psychopath. Anyone who works for the government is a psychopath because they learn to take orders. They don't have much any more say really in their conditions of life than you do. Quite frankly, the average police officer, he has no more say in his life than you do, and their lives are worse than yours are, right? Which makes them better police officers. They're losers. I've gone to the homes of police officers. They're all fucking losers. They're all fucking losers. They're out of their fucking minds. They're out of their fucking minds. And you can say that. It's okay. It's not against the law. People in law enforcement, teachers, real estate, people in government jobs, they're out of their fucking minds. People who work too hard are out of their fucking minds. People who capitulate too much are out of their fucking minds. I like people who start their own businesses at least, which is something the government wants, which makes me a little suspicious. But I mean, the whole money making system is wrong. But I think if you have to do something, have your own business. When I was young, at first someone asked me what I wanted to do. I said, have my own business. Whatever it is, I need to be able to do it myself. And one of the reasons I've never had a relationship is because I can't have the relationship I want in this society. I can't have the privacy I want. I knew at a young age and things that psychology was discovered only decades later, which is that when you have a relationship with a person, it's never private. It's like with everyone they've let into them, because people learn to let shit into them. You can't really have a relationship with one person.